Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, it's great to be here, and normally when I talk to a group like this, I'm talking about Europe. You know, my people know me because I make TV shows and lead tours and write guidebooks to Europe. I went to Iran for none of those reasons. I went to Iran because I think you should know people before you bomb them. You know, sometimes it's necessary to bomb people and kill them, I guess, you know. But I think it's bad character to dehumanize your enemy so it doesn't hurt. And any country, our country included, is really good at dehumanizing an enemy. Collateral damage, you know, the problem. Covering up, not letting photographs of caskets. See a tall guy, you got a drone going over there over Baluchistan. You see a tall guy at a wedding party, there's extended family, 30 people there, the tall guy. You just kill them all because you thought he might be Osama. Oh, he wasn't, sorry. You know, they're dehumanized. We don't cry. A beautiful blonde American girl is kidnapped in Aruba and we all cry. You see, she's humanized. And I just don't want to put up with that. She's precious, they're precious. We're all children of God. We can find solutions. So I had the opportunity a year ago. Well, there was a lot of saber rattling and talk about, you know, military strikes and so on. And in my hometown, Seattle, the local United Nations chapter called me up and said, what can we do to try to encourage some discussion and peace? I said, the only thing I can do is make a TV show. And I'm real busy. I don't think we can do it. I mean, it's hard to talk to the Iranians. They don't even have a consulate or an embassy here. You got to go through Pakistan and so on. But I said, I'd love to do it. If you guys can get me permission, I'll get my film crew together. We'll go over there. I'll pay for it. It's not a big deal. I mean, and I'll bring it home and I'll have it. My hunch is it'll air all over the United States, you know. And it's been a year process, and I'm so excited that this month it's debuting, and every city in the country is airing it, and we're going to learn a lot about Iran. Now, my agenda, if I had one, was not to be 60 minutes. I didn't really want to get into adulterers being stoned or, you know, gay people or Baha'is or funding terrorism or nuclear power plants. I mean, those are all important issues, but I'm not one of those kind of guys. I'm a travel writer. I want to go there and just humanize the place. It's a culture. It's a proud culture of 70 million people. It has the only real borders in that whole region. All the rest are created by European colonial powers, and you got all the mess you got there because it ignores ethnicity, I think. Here is one real, powerful, proud, strong ethnicity that goes back. Its first king was 500 years before Christ, way back in the days of Persepolis, when that was the palace of, where it was subjugating 30 different nations. Everybody come there, we're not worthy style, to Darius or Xerxes or Cyrus or those guys, you know? And I just thought, we don't know much about this place. What do we know about Iran? Everything I knew about Iran, I learned from Ted Koppel. You know? I mean, our history of Iran starts in about 1979, right? Well, I just thought, I should know something about Iran. I didn't. I was scared to go there. I came within 2 inches of leaving my big camera in Athens and just flying into Tehran with our little sneak camera, because I was thinking they'd be throwing rocks at us in the streets when they knew we were Americans. I had no clue. Thank goodness I went there with the big camera, because I found I was more warmly received on the streets of Tehran as an American than any other place I've ever traveled, honestly. It blew me away. I had so much fun in Iran. I learned so much. I was so thankful for to have just the gumption to do this, you know, and to have an outlet to air this, what we learned on, thanks to public broadcasting, non-commercial broadcasting. I mean, you know, we love our underwriters and everything, but they didn't want their name on this show. You know, it's just too dicey to talk about this stuff. Somebody's got to, I don't care if it's good for business or not. War is going to be bad for all of us, you see, and we can't afford another one. So I just wanted to learn about this and come home. So I'm just going to tell you the story of the shoot and what I learned. I hope you can see the show. It's an hour-long special, and boy, it's just very exciting to open your eyes to Iran. I wanted to go as a travel writer to look at all the great buildings and, you know, museums and culture and eat the food and that sort of thing. And I also wanted to humanize the place. I just really wanted to get to know what makes these people tick. Because, well, my hunch was, and as I learned, I think it would be dangerously naive to think we could shock and awe these people into compliance. I mean, it's just not going to happen. And this is something I learned. When you go to Iran, you find it's not a free society. You know, it's a society that has traded away freedom, democracy, for a theocracy. Now, I know we have some Iranians in the crowd here, and I'd love to get your take and so on afterwards. We'll have a Q&A, and I'll be the first one to say, I'm just a rookie at this. I didn't know anything about Iran 6 months ago. I went there in May. I didn't know anything about Iran a year ago. Did my studying, went there, learned a lot, and I'm teaching in a way that simplifies things. So it's all much more complicated probably than what I'm saying. But it's hard for most of us Americans to get our brains around a lot of this stuff. So I think we just want to kind of stick to basics here and not bog down in too many of the details. But we'll talk about that afterwards, I hope. But what I found was the people didn't apologize for not having freedom. They said, no, we're not free. We're worried about cultural encroachment from the West. We've traded away our democracy in order to have a theocracy. What motivates them? They're motivated by, I found, fear and love. Fear of Western encroachment, love of their children. People walked all the way across the street to come up to me and say, we don't want our kids to be raised like Britney Spears. That's it. I mean, you know, they're victims of propaganda. We're victims of propaganda. If you're a loving parent in Iran who happens to be a devout Muslim, who might not be very well educated, a small town, conservative, fundamentalist person, you don't want your kids to grow up to be boy toys, drug addicts, and crass materialists. That is your passion, to give your children an environment to grow up decent people, not like that. And these older people, they grew up in their lives with the Shah in power, and they were bragging in Tehran that the miniskirts were shorter in Tehran than they were in Paris. Well, that's fun if you're into miniskirts, but that's not what you want your little girl to be wearing if you're a fundamentalist, conservative, whatever, Muslim. You want that modesty, that respect, and so on. So I had so many eurekas. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize this. And I was going over there. I was very impressed by what we don't know and the value of getting to understand that better. Flying in was fascinating. I mean, I was on a plane going. The pilot said, we're taking this plane to Tehran, and nobody was anxious. Everybody's got dinner with metal knives. When's the last time you had a metal knife on a plane, huh? Coming into Tehran, when everybody buckles up their seatbelts, all the women put on their scarves. These are cosmopolitan, you know, worldly rich women from Iran. They flew to Paris or whatever. Now you got to enter back into that, not Iran, but the Islamic Republic of Iran, okay? And you land in that airport, and all of a sudden you are in a different land. And you've got to cover your hair, you see? It was really interesting. Right from the start, it was clear this is different. At the airport, we went to we were taken directly to the CIP lounge, Commercially Important Persons Lounge. And my producer, who you'll meet in a minute, was Simon, and he's from New Zealand, and he showed his passport, and they said, welcome. I'm from the United States. I showed my passport, and 2 policemen said, come with me. So we walk over here, and I had to be fingerprinted. And I've never been fingerprinted. It's an affront to me to give somebody my fingerprints, but I kind of realized this is reciprocity. This is saving face. If you're in a yacht club and that yacht club won't let you dock your boat there, those guys in that yacht club can't dock their boat here, right? Reciprocity. If you're a senior and you go to Athens to get into the museum, the Norwegian senior in front of you gets in for free. You say, why can't I get in for free? The guy in Greece says, well, when our seniors go to Norway, they get in for free, but when they come to the United States, there's no reciprocity. You see, so this is just normal. And when you're big and strong like us, you kind of say, well, grow up, get over it. But when you're little and battered around, these things matter. This is saving face, you see. So there's a lot of saving face going on here that's pretty important that I think when you're on top and powerful and dictate things, you sort of undervalue. Well, I like to get things done quick in a guerrilla, expedient, entrepreneurial kind of way, and you get over there and everything's got to be slow and cumbersome and have some tea and chat about this and schmooze here. And I mean, I had to produce a whole show here in a week and a half, and I wanted to get out there shooting, but we had to meet the big shot, and he's from the Ministry of Guidance.